Hey guys, what's up? Hope you guys have been having a great weekend, and I'm happy to be back with my first ever Q&A session. So this is my first time doing it, so might not be the best one, but I'll do my best to answer all the questions you guys have. I do want to say I appreciate you guys asking me all these questions. I think I got something like 200 or 300 questions. So I'll definitely be trying to do maybe one Q&A a month. Let me know if that's the kind of frequency you guys would like. If there's a lot more questions you guys have, I'll definitely do my best to answer all of them in the future. So that being said, let's get into the first question. Banjo there 27 asks, any aspirations to play in the tour after long drive? Now, this is a question I've gotten a lot, and I think it's because people see me when they see me play well. It's the score is very similar to what a lot of PGA Tour players shoot. However, I don't think people realize sometimes the level that those guys are at. And I played junior golf for my entire life, and I think I peaked at 48th in my class when I was a senior. And the fact of the matter is, the guys that are winning on tour, the guys that are on tour now from my graduating class, Sam Burns, Dylan Liu, those kind of guys, they beat me even when I was playing my best. And the fact of the matter is, I might one day pursue it, but for now, it's not a huge goal of mine, just because I would have to get so much better. Because I think when I do vlogs and stuff, it's me playing a course that I don't want to say it's easy, because some of the courses I did play were somewhat difficult, but it's me by myself or with someone else. It's very laid back, not too much pressure, and these guys are playing PGA Tour conditions in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and the pressure's on, and it's a lot different of an atmosphere. And myself, I definitely know that, because I remember how much easier it was for me to shoot good scores when I played a practice round or when I was just playing with some buddies versus actually playing in a tournament. So in the future, maybe. For now, probably not. And if I start playing great with these vlogs, maybe I'll give it a shot though. Luke Swan asks, what's the difference between my long drive driver and my golf driver? So I guess the spec differences are, my long drive driver is 48 inches, my regular driver is 45 inches. They're all USGA conforming, so if I wanted to go out on the tour with my 48-inch long drive driver, it would be totally USGA legal. Obviously, the only differences wouldn't be that good for scoring, because that obviously, in long drive, you don't have to play your second shot. In golf, you do. So you're trying to rein it in a bit. My long drive driver actually is a much more flexible shaft than my regular driver. It's a 2x stiff. My regular driver, 45 inches long. My long drive driver is 48 inches long at a regular shaft stiffness. So that plays more to a light stiffness. The reason being is, in long drive, we don't care how big we miss. We just care about hitting the grid a certain amount of times. And a lighter shaft allows me to generate more speed, and it allows me to feel the head a little bit better. So it allows me to kind of control the way the ball behaves when I hit it a little more. But the misses are huge, and they're very hard to predict. And with my play driver, my golf driver, it's much more stiff, because I'm trying to minimize my misses. I'm not too concerned with distance. Obviously, I don't need to really worry about distance in the first place. My biggest concern on golf courses is to not have to take penalty shots off the tee. If I can avoid taking penalty shots off the tee, we're doing pretty good. So that's kind of the main differences between the two drivers, and also kind of the ideology between why I'm using a certain setup for either club. Jordy asks, favorite course in the U.S. you've ever played? Without a doubt, it would be Torrey Pines South. I played there for the Cali Junior World Championships. I think now it's the IMG World Championships. And probably one of the best tournaments I've ever played. I think I finished 20th or something out of 180 guys. And it was a lot of fun. It was one of the toughest courses I've ever played. And at the age of 16, they had us playing back at 7,300. So it was a grind, but it was one of my favorite courses I'd ever played. Definitely the favorite I've played in the United States. John Hafer asks, do you feel like a sideshow attraction? Do you wish more people would take your game seriously? Now, I do think sometimes it can seem like that, but the reality of the matter is that even tour pros, obviously they make a lot more money than I do and any other long driver. But in some kind of way, they're also, not to say they're a sideshow attraction, because that's not what I'm trying to say, but like they're entertainers, and that's how I see myself. I see myself as an entertainer. So it would be nice for people to recognize my game a little more, but I think in the long run, and in the end, it doesn't really matter. I think people recognize me for my distance and my fellow long drivers for their distance, just like people recognize PGA Tour players for their ability to score on a golf course. So I think it's just different people like different things. And so to some people, long drive might be more entertaining than regular golf. And to some people, regular golf is more entertaining than long drive. And that's the nature of being an entertainer. Some people are going to hate what you do. Some people are going to love what you do. So I think in the end, it's just about catering to those people instead of worrying about what others might think or see or conceive of your abilities and what you do, what avenue you use to entertain people with. Brandon Heacock asks, what products do you use for those luscious locks? So I've actually used Head & Shoulders for a long time now. Hopefully, maybe one day they'll offer me a contract. Who knows? If anybody from Head & Shoulders is watching, definitely get in contact with me. Robert asks, do you have a day job? Now, actually, this has been my job. I have never had a check from anything other than long drive or golf, I guess you could say. When I was in 2017, I was going to college, and I was a college golfer, so that was kind of my summer job, was to keep getting better at golf to eventually pursue a pro career at it, and that's when I switched to long drive. And my first year in long drive, I probably made, especially finishing third at 2017, the World Championships definitely helped out a lot. I ended up probably making roughly what you would make for a summer job. And then 2018, I probably made somewhere around what you would consider a typical salary for the United States. And in 2019, it was obviously a lot more. So I'm very blessed and fortunate to say that this is my day job, which is something that I still can't believe. I'm very lucky. So yes, I don't have a day job. My day job is hitting the ball far and, entertaining people with my swing, I guess. Juanma Alvarez asks, how many drivers have you broken? Man, I would say throughout my career, probably over 100. It was really bad my rookie year because I actually would break the shaft of my back because I couldn't decelerate very well. I would say I have 40 or 50 of my drivers I broke my rookie year, and then probably 30 in 2018, and then 15 or 20 in 2019. And Crank and Callaway have both done a fantastic job of building extremely tough faces, and those have been my two main driver sponsors throughout the year. Callaway now, and by the way, their driver is freaking awesome. I was really excited to use it this year, and obviously with the situation, weren't able to quite do that. But at our speeds, that's just a reality with regards to the metal and the conceivable products that can be used to harden a driver. At our speeds, you're just going to crack drivers. And I would say I'll probably crack 20 to 30 a year now. TAJ Sport asks, does playing golf mess with your long drive form? Now, I actually think it helps me with my long drive form because I think when you do long drive enough, you start getting pretty extreme with your swing and bad things can creep in that were born out of you trying to swing faster. So there was good intentions, but the swing crept in and crept some bad habits, and you start losing speed, actually, believe it or not. So I think golf does a great job of kind of reining my swing in so that I can kind of keep my long drive swing in a very stable spot in terms of my positions at the top and my general swing pattern. So, and I would say that it actually helps me hit the center of the face more, and I have not lost any speed at all. In fact, I hit some balls. One of my vlogs, I think the one I just released the other day, I hit some balls for the members on the range before I went out, and my numbers were right where they would be at peak season. I was probably 153 club speed, and so that's absolutely where I wanted to be, and so I would say it helps, if anything. In Rerun asks, what kind of golf ball do you use? So I use a Callaway Chrome Soft, and Callaway's done a tremendous job of supporting me with good golf balls, and they really did a lot of work to make sure I had a golf ball I could play really well with, because I think they understand that I'm a golfer as well as a long driver, and so they've done a great job of helping me out with that, and highly recommend the Callaway Chrome Soft X if you're a faster swing speed. It's definitely been a great ball for me, and I think you guys would like it a lot too. NCD Art asks, what is the longest drive you have ever hit? So the longest drive I've ever hit, It was 474 yards in competition. Funny enough, that was in my first ever qualifier. This was March of 2017. My swing speed couldn't have been much over 140, but it was like 4,000 feet of elevation in Yucca Valley, California. It was extremely hard ground. It was pretty much a desert. And we had, I'm not exaggerating when I say we had probably 30-mile-an-hour tailwinds. And try this on for size. Try going to the local and seeing you need to hit it 428 yards to get through a local. So I'm sure you guys can imagine how confident I was feeling at that point. But that's when I realized how much condition can cause the ball to go further or shorter. And there was actually a bunker in the middle of the grid at about 430. And so what happened was I hit this perfect drive, caught it perfect. The wind was really gusting at the time. And it was the one drive that actually carried over the bunker. And it bounced off the downslope of the bunker. So it probably carried about 435 and rolled out to 474. That was pretty cool. And I think that's how people first kind of heard my name in long drive circles, because it was my first event. Jake Renauard asks, what driver am I playing and what are the specs? So my play driver is a Callaway Epic Flash. I believe it's a 7-degree tuned down to a 5.5 degree with a bit of a draw bias. I'm playing a Patterson Charge 2X shaft with a mid-size Golf Pride Tour Wrap grip with 3X wraps of tape at the very top butt end of the club. I do that to help with grip pressure so that I'm gripping it the right way, and so the consistency is as high as I can get it on it. Evan Whitaker asks, what was meeting Phil Mickelson like? Man, that was honestly a dream come true. I had followed Phil pretty much since as long as I can remember. He's been on tour and winning and being a very good role model. My entire family is a huge fan of Phil. And that was definitely the first thing I asked Callaway when I signed with them was, I hope I get to work with Phil soon. And they said, don't worry, we're gonna make sure that happens. And a lot of people have commented why I'm wearing street clothes. So the purpose of the shoot was actually to, if you watch Chris Bryant and Greg Maddux in that Red Bull commercial, I was supposed to be much like that, like a camouflaged cameraman, and they would bring me out while Phil was hitting balls and get Phil's reaction. The only issue was that Phil already knew who I was, because I actually had spent some time with his coach Rick Smith down, or one of his former coaches Rick Smith down at Doral. One of my long drive friends had connections there, so we played around golf, and I got some swings on their launch monitor, and he sent a video of my swing to Phil, so Phil knew who I was. And so kind of didn't work out the way we wanted to, but I think it was still a really cool little shoot. So that was really awesome. And Joshua Carlson asks, what was the transfer from college golf to long drive like? It was definitely a very interesting one. I was kind of struggling to find my place and play well in college. I'd done okay, but I was fighting my swing a lot, and I think I was having trouble adjusting to college and just being on my own. And so I got my first long drive club probably late 2016, and I would hit it a little bit at practice. My coach would let me hit the long drive club 10-15 minutes at the end of practice if I wanted, and I wasn't very good with the long drive club. It took a lot of work to get used to. And then I kind of made the decision along with my coach to basically put college golf to the side and see how I do in long drive in 2017. And that's when, as I explained earlier in the video, I hit my first drive 474 yards and ended up winning my qualifier, my first one, and qualified for Worlds then and there. And I think that's kind of when I realized I really enjoyed long drive. It seemed like I was pretty good at it, and this was something I wanted to pursue. So kind of from there, I started backing down how much I was practicing golf and stepping up my efforts to gain speed and improve in long drive. And so as the summer wore on in 2017, it kind of went from, I'm going to keep seeing what long drive does for me to, I kind of want to try to make this my job. So that was kind of how the transition was. So, but it was definitely something I was very fortunate to fall into, for sure. So that does it for this Q&A session, guys. Let me know if you guys would like more Q&As. I definitely enjoy answering your questions, and I appreciate the amount of questions you guys have asked. I'm very fortunate to have an engaged audience such as you guys, especially in this short period of time I've been on YouTube. And so my plan would be a Q&A once a month, so I can maybe try to answer more questions next time, maybe 20 or 25 questions. I just kept this one a little shorter just because I didn't know how long you guys would be interested in watching Q&A for. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.